What's up, Justin, the company man in the building? BTSN pass. What's up, Justin? What's going on, bro?
What up, man? Tory Lanez going on. He ain't the hill to die on. I'll tell y'all that.
Uh, you sound very passionate about this topic. Let's talk about it. We're gonna give a minute for the room to start filling up. Let's have this conversation.
Yeah, man. This. There's so many layers to this that I think are fascinating. Some I think are tragic. Some I think are Shakespearean. You know. So I'm uh, I'm glad that we're here talking about this.
So let's start. Let's. I guess we can start warming up the conversation a little bit with. Let's just break down some of the angles to this case. The room seems to be filling up pretty fast. Let's break down some of the angles to this case, and let's get everybody kind of caught up. Just to just catch the story up. Just while the room is filling up.
Yeah, man. Okay, so over the past 2 years, there has been I would describe as a conspiratorial conversation about who shot Meg the Stallion. And this is stemming from a situation that happened in August 2020. Leaving a party at Kylie Jenner's house, Meg the Stallion, Tory Lanez, and Meg's friend, ex-friend, I guess, Kelsey Harris, got into an altercation in Tory Lanez's vehicle. His bouncer, his bodyguard was driving, and it ended up with police showing up, TMZ helicopters above, and Meg the Stallion limping um, because she had bullet fragments in her feet. And over the next 2 years, there are real questions about what happened, whether Meg actually got shot. If she did get shot, who shot her? And we finally got a culmination tonight. I understand how the legal system goes. A guilty verdict means that a jury has decided, based on the evidence presented, that uh, the defendant was found guilty. Just like a not guilty verdict means that a jury has found that, based on the evidence presented, someone is not guilty. That's not necessarily the same thing as innocent. But to me, the facts of this case have been so clear for so long. And the social media reactions, the way the media has covered this um, over the past 2 years has been baffling and enlightening in multiple ways. First off, I think Tory could have pleaded down early. Regardless of what happened, as soon as he got charged, he could have taken a lesser charge. So the idea or the fact that he decided to take this all the way to court is a special kind of arrogance to me. And the reason I say that is, one, it was his gun. Whatever happened, the gun that was discharged was his. Two, Meg has always said, outside of that night, which is August 2020, to put it into perspective, that's 3 months after George Floyd. We're on COVID restrictions, and the black community especially was in a very heightened place when it came to the police. And in the beginning, Meg said that she stepped on glass. My opinion, because she was trying to protect that dude or protect whoever shot at her. Because when she got shot, she was outside the vehicle and everyone else was closer to the vehicle. She goes to the doctor. They find bullet fragments in her feet. Once the doctor finds bullet fragments in your feet, he has to report it to the police. That's why this case is the state, the people versus Tory Lanez. It wasn't Meg the Stallion versus Tory Lanez. So Meg lied about getting shot at first. to protect this dude, in my opinion, given the situation. And she made statements later clarifying that. But the whole rigmarole that took place in the years after was an exercise in public relations. This is, again, someone who could have pleaded down, who decided to go to trial and used every media resource he had available to spin a narrative against, in my opinion, well, it's not even my opinion anymore, the victim in this case, because Meg did get shot. There's a huge room, and even after, this verdict, in my opinion, there's a lot of room between who actually did it. I don't have doubt that Tory did it. But even in the trial, they said there was 2 pieces of DNA on the gun. I get that. It shouldn't have gotten that far. It didn't have to get that far. And I think, in my opinion, the jury clearly saw it as I saw it, which is, okay, well, this is clearly happening. She definitely has bullet fragments in her feet. Who would make sense to be the ones pulling this trigger? Is it the bodyguard? I can't see a bodyguard doing that. Is it her friend, now ex-friend? Like I said in the video I put up last month, unless it's Remy Ma wasn't there. Or is it Tory Lanez, who has a history of reckless behavior? And so this is the basis for this case. But there's so many macro discussions that have come through this entire ordeal. We've watched media misreport, media misinformation, and or disinformation. We have watched people, other famous artists, publicly taunt this woman who was the victim. We have watched what I think is connected to a broader conversation that's happening culturally between men and women, whether it's a spinoff from a Me Too movement, which feels like we're now just defending women when there are situations where women aren't necessarily as honorable as Protect All Women seems to infer that women naturally are. We're watching a culture of men who are, based on Pew Research studies, less happy than they've ever been. There's arguments of, or discussions of, a breakdown in family units to where the way we all interact socially and familially and culturally is fractured in a different way. And it all lands on this case. And so I thought it was a good idea to have a Twitter Spaces about it.
BTSN exclusive. Tory Lanez ain't the hill to die on. We got Justin Hunt, the company man, on the phone. On the line. Let's talk about it. We want to invite you up to have your input. Anybody want to speak? We'll definitely give you an opportunity to share your input on this particular topic. My input is, well, my question to you, Justin, was it a direct shot, or was it a fragment or a ricochet of a bullet?
There's no part of me that feels like Tory was trying to kill her, or truthfully, I don't think he probably wasn't trying to injure her. This sounds like a very drunk night. From everything that came out of this case, everybody was drunk. Tory had been hooking up with both of them. Looks like it came to a head after they left that party, or maybe while they're at that party. You get emotions running high, and you get enough liquor in your system, things can go left. But with that being said, based on the facts of the case that came out, he definitely 5 shots were let off of out that gun. 5 shots. That's not an accidental pull to me. That is not unintentional. Whether or not he meant to hit her or scare her or he was drunk and just blacked out, I can't call it. But there's no part of me that feels like he was in a murdery mode. But you get ego, you get liquor, and you get the fact that I guess maybe you didn't get a chance to smash Kylie. You never know what's going to happen.
So if he wasn't in a murderous mode, so if he wasn't in a villainous or murderous mode, do you think the guilty verdict is justified? I mean, is that justified situation?
100%. He wasn't charged with murder. He wasn't charged. I don't think he was even charged with. He was charged with. I can't think of the charge right now. I think it was reckless endangerment. He could have got reckless endangerment. He had a gun, a legal gun. I'm gonna pull back because I don't know the charges right now. But based on what he was convicted on, yeah, it makes complete sense to me. Now, there's a lot of room in here to discuss what happened in this case and debate whether or not, in people's opinions, the DA presented enough evidence in order for the jury to reach a guilty verdict. And that's what this room's about. I want people to raise their hand if they want to talk. We can talk about this back and forth. But I will say this though. I think Tory's lawyers dropped the ball several times. First time was when Kelsey got on the stand. She was the state's witness, and she had already given her statement in September. 80 minutes of clear testimony about what, at least in September, she believed happened. She said Tory shot Meg. She confirmed the fact that Tory tried to bribe Meg and tried to bribe her. All the details. She got on the stand and she's pleading the fifth. She has a whole bunch of I don't remembers. At that point, the DA asked the judge if they could just play all 80 minutes of Kelsey's testimony. The judge said no. And then in cross-examination, Tory's lawyers started asking Kelsey whether or not she had been badgered or pressured by the DA. That was his line of questioning, as reported. That gave the prosecution room. This is the state again. This is not Meg. This is the state. That gave the prosecution room to say, hey, judge, the defense is saying that we pressured the witness in those initial conversations. Can we play this 80-minute recording for the jury? At that point, the judge said, okay. So at first the judge said no. Then because of Tory's lawyers, he said, okay. That's significant in this. 2, second time Tory's lawyers dropped the ball to me. They didn't put Tory on the stand. Now, I understand that if someone committed the crime, you don't want them on the stand. But if someone didn't commit the crime, that's a different variable. And if there was enough room, enough wiggle room, if there's enough reasonable doubt hanging around this conversation, to me, that's a great time to put Tory on the stand. Because their position was that, again, was no longer that Meg didn't even get shot. At this point, their position is Kelsey shot Meg. Tory never took the stand to say his side of it. Well, that is now sitting with the jury in a different kind of way. So I want to open this up to other people who have opinions, have thoughts, who've been following this trial. But from a macro standpoint, again, the concept that just because, I think in hip hop specifically, there is a reflex to say the system is against us. I think as black people in general, I think we're extremely conspiratorial. And I think that just where we are in society leaves a lot of room to question what women are saying. And somehow over the past 2 years, Tory Lanez, who has a history of reckless behavior away from this case, became some sort of a martyr along this road. And I haven't seen anything that has been documented either from police reports or through this trial or any information that's come out since August 2020 that leads me to believe he's the victim in this case. And for me personally, I'm happy the jury found him to be guilty of these charges.
So when we say Tory Lanez ain't the hill to die on, what do we mean? And I see the homie Dizzo Dixon want to speak too. I see he got his
What
mic
up,
on.
Dizzo?
Hey, it's pronounced Diesel, but how you guys doing? Appreciate you, Josh. You know, been rocking with you for years. Do your thing. But for me, with this whole case, it just always was a slippery slope. I knew he was going to be found guilty, whether he did it or initiated or not. I'm not saying that I was like a big Tory Lanez fan or nothing like that. He definitely seemed like a shaky guy, but in my personal opinion, I really think the lady, her friend Kelsey or Chelsea, whatever her name is, she really done this stuff. And I guess her and him was trying to, hold some type of force or not speaking on it, even though she spoke and her little side, back in September you said. But yeah, that's just really where I'm coming at with it. I personally think that's just me. But like I said, Tory Lanez, he's a clown. He do a bunch of stuff. So I'm not saying that this is far fetched in what he has already shown, what type of clown behavior he with. So, I don't really like the whole man woman divide, and all this kind of stuff. But, coming from where I come from Baltimore City, you know, they're all women who are in certain kind of lives. And I ain't saying Meg about that. I don't even know what her lyrics really be about for real. But I'm just saying, like, just from where I come from, I kind of look at everybody almost the same. Like, okay, all right, well, depending on the background, he capable of some things, she capable of some things. But like I said, Meg, she didn't deserve that, regardless of what happened, who was sleeping with who. It was all sucker ish. If you ask me, I personally think the girl done it, but Tory, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if he instigated that whole situation. So, that's really what I gotta say on that, man, for real, for real. So, somebody else can chime in.
Appreciate that, Diesel, man. I tell you, man, and thank you for rocking with me too, man. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs when, in general, and I feel like this generally. When I feel like I'm sticking up for when I'm fighting for celebrities I don't know, that's when I feel the most ignorant. Because like, is it possible that makes Kelsey shot Meg? Sure, I think it's definitely a possibility, right? If we just look at it from a macro standpoint, 20,000 foot standpoint. But chances are that she grabbed Tory's gun to do so. That's always been a that's always been a little different thing to me. Anyone else want to chime in? Anyone want to raise your hand if you want to chime in and share your opinion?
I think the Tory Lanez, I think the Chelsea aspect is a strong aspect to consider. Does it feel like does it feel like does it feel like he's falling on the sword? Does it
No.
feel
I mean, Tory could have pled down. He could have pled down a long time ago. He could have just he could have he didn't have to take this to trial. He could have made a deal. And to me, that's where arrogance comes in.
we got Dr. Hines with his hands up real fast. Let's see what the good doctor got to say. Dr. Hines, chime in real quick for us, bro.
Hey, I hope you guys are well. And Hey Justin, hope you're well too.
What's up, brother?
I'm not really gonna say much outside of this. I actually do think I just wanted to speak on the comment that you just said in regards to him having to him not the fact that it was his gun, and then Kelsey using his gun to do the shooting. Personally, in my own point of view, I hear what you're saying, but I think it's one of those ones in which that is entirely possible. I mean, just based on the evidence alone in regards to the gunshot residue being on Kelsey, as well as his DNA also not being on the gun at the scene, the way that was laid out, I think it is possible that she because according to the testimonies, they were both in the back seat, Tory and Kelsey. It's possible that she grabbed the gun and shot her. Sorry. It to prove that though, you have to do a lot of mental gymnastics in terms of how, especially from the sides that they were sitting in my own point of view. But I've heard some crazy theories like the bullets ricocheting into Megan's leg and so many things. I don't think it's impossible for Kelsey to do it either. I put I've seen a lot of behaviors with Tory. I think this was the right verdict because I've seen him the way he acted, I should say, with the whole Dax drama that I even heard about years ago. I think this was like 2018, if I'm not mistaken. The way he acted there, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case here. However, it could be Kelsey because of the gunshot residue, etc. I don't know how to make of this because I I haven't seen a case where your fingerprints is not on a murder weapon, and sorry, not murder weapon, but the weapon that's being used to shot, and the gunshot residue is not even on you, but yet you're the one that's burying a brand. I think there's so many conspiracies around the case, but I just find that part of evidence that's the part that's a bit unsettling to me. But I don't think a wrong verdict has been reached, if that makes sense.
Wait, so help me reconcile those two things. You don't think it's the wrong verdict, but you think it's weird that she had residue on.
So sorry, I didn't quite get all your questions.
I said, help me reconcile this. So you think the right verdict was reached, but you find it weird that her DNA was on the gun. Is that what you said?
Yeah, like I'm saying, okay, what I'm saying is, I based on the relationship that Kelsey and Tory had, and based on Meg saying quote what she said in regards to it, um in terms of them sleeping together, etc. It that I put that to one side, and I said to myself that actually can't go against Meg because or go against it can't go against Meg too tough, but it goes against Kelsey. So when I'm looking at it, as who is being, who is being charged, and that was Tory. So based on what I know of Tory's behavior and his past actions, this doesn't seem like the wrong verdict because end of the day, it was his gun, and and all of those things. So for the jury to reach the conclusion that they did, I don't blame them because of the evidence that was presented by the prosecution. That's why I don't blame them. I'm saying the part that doesn't sit well with me, like I would have probably been that juror if I was in the room. I would have been that juror that would have said, "Don't you guys find it a bit weird that that the gunshot residue was on her and all those things, and on her and not on him, and also don't you think it's weird that his fingerprints were not on the gun, but this was the gun that apparently he fired from?" So I would be asking those questions, but at the same time, sorry, I'll be asking those questions, but that's why it doesn't sit well with me. But I don't think that they reached the wrong verdict based on the evidence they had been presented. Do you kind of understand where I'm coming from?
I see what you're saying. I see where you're coming from.
Real fast, if you don't mind, if y'all don't mind me, Jay, real fast. They did find GSR on his hands.
Okay, so they
Right.
found gunshot GSR's gunshot residue. So they did
Yeah,
found gunshot residue on his hands. We
they did.
got William James. William James popped up. He has something that he wanted to give in as well, add to the conversation.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for facilitating this conversation. I just wanted to say really quickly, one, before the verdict, I was under the belief that Tory was guilty. I didn't think that Meg shot herself. And so I'm pleased with the result. I would just say quickly, as much as I'm happy for the result, I'm also prayerfully mindful of the journey of healing that Meg has in front of her. Because for us, this is a moment in which we can chime in and people make their comments and all that, but she has to live with the trauma of being victimized by gun violence by somebody. She didn't shoot herself. She has to live with that trauma. She has to live through the trauma of all of the friendships that she has lost and that have become strained through this process. Obviously, we know about Kelsey, but there's so many other, I work in the entertainment industry and I know how quickly people can switch up when you attempt to advocate for yourself in an unpopular way. But she also has to continue to live through always not being believed. Let's say something happens to her in the future. If, God forbid, she's caught in a Harvey Weinstein type situation. And then now she has to have this conversation in her mind, like, damn, do I speak up or do I risk just going through all of this again? But the main point I want to just express real quick is that I think there's a through line that Black people, hip hop community, and people in general should be connecting between what's going on with why people were so passionate in their defense of Tory, much like people are passionate about their defense of Kanye, and even to another extreme, why people are so passionate about their defense of people like Trump, because what manipulators are good at doing are taking something that is known as a universal truth, but manipulating it as if it is true in their particular situation. It is true, generally speaking, that the Democratic Party takes advantage of Black people. But there are manipulators out there who have weaponized Black people and now have convinced them to support Donald Trump, right? It is true in a general sense that, Black men, working class fathers, have a hard time in the court system getting custody of their kids and getting equal rights. That is true in a general sense. But Kanye manipulated that for his own ill intentions in a situation where it did not apply. And so then you have lots of Black people, Black men in particular, who were putting a cape on for Kanye because emotionally they were understandably triggered by this understanding that, wow, I have a tough time getting my kids, so what Kanye's expressing must be true. And I see a similar through line with the Tory thing, and that I do see a lot of, and I would say this respectfully, hurt men who may have been hurt by the legal system maybe, or who may have been hurt by other situations. And so instead of instead of saying, let me separate my individual pain and trauma and just look at the Megan thing objectively, people were putting the cape on for Tory so hard because they were manipulated by the general understanding that black men do have a hard time in the court system. But what is also true, and I'll close by saying this, what is also true and also undeniably true is that black women who are victims have an even tougher time attaining justice in the court system. So again, just to put a button on all that, I just think we have to be more mindful and vigilant to make sure that we are not allowing things that are generally true to bias us in a way that makes us put the cape on for bad actors, like Donald Trump, like Kanye, and in this case, like Tory. Thank you.
Excellent input, excellent input. Justin, you want to speak on that? And then we have Mr. Long Island who has some comment as well.
No, that was dope. I appreciate the insight. Glasses, what do you think?
Nothing. So straight up and down, like the Kanye shit, like Kanye is a victim. It's not like he did something that deserves the shit that's happening to him. I don't like that. It's like the world creates villains, right? And then everybody goes and before Trump was beloved and a politician, he was beloved by the black community for ages. It's way more complicated than these simple ideas. Same for Kanye. It's like Kanye is still the same victim as a black man. Now, is he a part of the black military movement? No. Is he always speaking up for black people? No. You know what I mean? But that don't change that he very much is a victim of the same system. He's not using his black card. He actually is a black man that is suffering because he's a black man as well. So I don't want it to be where it's like, Tory's situation is unique because he also had great publicity this whole time. Megan also had horrible publicity this whole time. So it's easy for people to just get lost in it. You know what I mean? And it's not as straight up like, oh, these men are ostracized and, they don't really have a real issue. That's why you have courts. We don't, public opinion is tough, you know what I mean? Because you garner the information as best way as you can. And like in Tory's situation, most people was really like I told you offline, like, man, his publicist did an incredible job and Meg's publicist did a horrible job. You know what I mean? And we still in a battle of public opinion where we at. But also, like we talked about from the first day, it was never a chance he was going to get off. You know what I mean? Like, because in the real court, it's different. So I feel what the brother's saying. I just don't like where you just kind of throw yay out like, oh, I'm not saying he don't get himself in his own trouble, but let's make no mistake. Half of his problems is because he's black. And they are definitely doing a lot extra because he's black. It's not because he's not, for sure.
When you want to respond to that, or?
Oh yeah, sure. Quickly. No, I definitely understand the point, but the through line for me with the Kanye thing is the fact that, again, I say this from a place of empathy. I'm from the south side of Chicago. I've seen nothing but broken homes, and I've seen tons of hard-working, especially working class and sometimes homeless men doing everything they can, grinding their knuckles to the bone to provide for them and their families, and they don't get justice. The main reason they don't get justice, in addition to being black men, is because they're poor. A couple months ago, Kanye was worth on paper somewhere in the billions of dollars. But what he wound up doing, on the one hand, he was playing around with Trump and all of them. And then he was intentionally trying to get sympathy from the black community because he said, hey, they're not trying to allow me to be around my black kids. Well, we're obviously not in their house. We obviously don't know all the intimacies that go on between them. But to me, he was obviously preying on something that a lot of black working class and poor fathers live through every day. And he was doing it as a bad actor because he chose to marry Kim Kardashian. He chose to have several kids with her. And he chose to go through all the ups and downs that they collectively went through. It was just disingenuous to say, hey, all black people need to rally behind me because this is an example of a black man not being allowed to see his family. No, that is a very unique example of an unhinged millionaire, billionaire who's having marital issues with his lady, right? And again, I'm only
But I
connecting it
think,
to
but that's not really fair, dog. Like that whole part right there is not fair. Like I'm with you. I'm the hardest on the black elites more than anybody I know. You know what I mean? Like I'm hard on black elites, but they are not above being treated like niggas.
of course not.
And Kanye didn't do anything spectacular to be treated like a nigga. Like, and it's not. Yeah, we all agree. I made a song talking about the woman this nigga married and told him, why did you do this? Feel me? So I'm with you, but by that same standard, you can apply that to most men who marry, what we could call a challenge of a woman. You know what I mean? So I just don't want to outcast the brothers that because okay, the proverbial poor black sentiment where we come from is Trump is bad, even though Trump has probably pretty much been a black celebrity our whole life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I get the general sentiments, but there's going to be brothers that think Republican and there's going to be brothers that think Democratic. It's just we stuck in the middle of people playing in white world. So while I'm with you in the sense that he never asked for people to rally behind him. He just complained like a black man. Just like the average black father don't complain and say, rally behind me, seeing my kids. He's like, man, they only doing this to me because I'm a black man. Like, and it's true. Yeah.
Respectfully, I have seen a few videos in which Kanye went live and said, "Hey, I need all the black fathers to tap in because this is what they do to us." And again, my only pushback in that is that he has at the end of the day, even when you're black, when you have money, you have power. And I don't think that Kanye went through what he went through with his kids. It wasn't the same as when the average working class, homeless, poor black father is trying to fight tooth and nail to get justice in the system. He had the system. The system was walking hand in hand with Kanye.
Yeah, but that's probably not true. Like I get the concept of what you're saying because we're looking at falsely set goals. This is something I argue with Charlemagne about all the time. These fake numbers of how much money people really have. Man, we know these people don't got that kind of money. That's why they can snap their fingers overnight and tell you he's not,
Right.
because it was never was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not
I
disagreeing.
concede
I'm
the
just saying,
Kanye point to
yeah,
you. I mean, I don't
no, no,
want
no,
to.
and
I
I'm
don't
not
want
even trying to get you. No, I'm not even trying to get you to concede a point. I just don't want to throw the brothers to the wolves. Even if at times they seem like they trying to throw themselves, it's still up to us to snatch them back.
no.
Because,
I respect
when
that.
it's all said and done, yeah, when it's all said and done, them white folks don't see nothing but a nigga. You know what
Oh,
I mean? They don't see Kanye. They don't be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
100%. And my only thing is, even if it don't apply to the Kanye thing, I just want us as a people to be aware of even when our own people are weaponizing the real traumas that we've gone through uh, in pursuit of something that's not really serving the collective, but it's really just serving an individual in an individual moment. And with the Tory thing, I felt like a lot of what I was seeing was a lot of black men who probably have been screwed over by a system, probably got accused of something that they didn't really do. In this situation, it just did not seem to apply to me personally. And I see a lot of black men falling down a toxic rabbit hole of, oh, well, such and such happened to me, so therefore Meg must be a liar and she must be worthless, et cetera, which I disagree with. But I hear your point.
BTSN exclusive. Tory Lanez ain't the hill to die on. We got a couple people on queue to get some comments. We got Hero. We got Mr. Long Island has been online, been waiting for quite some time. Let's get the comments real quick, brother Hero. You had your hand up.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Piece to the space. I actually, as William was finishing up, he ended up stating exactly what I was going to say. I just wanted to just kind of recast real quickly. I think it's a case of two things being true. The original through line of the Tory Lanez situation to Kanye was about not letting a general truth be applied to a specific case, and like you said, not having anecdotal experience be used to decide whether or not something's true in Megan's case. Like, it's just about being specific. That doesn't mean that, Kanye doesn't face discrimination. You know what I mean? So it's just two different things. Two things can be true.
Mr. Long Island, you've been in queue for quite some time, bro. You want to have a little input on this real quick, little insight?
Yeah. For me, what I was gonna say, I'm gonna comment on the Tory Lanez situation. Now, with everything that happened, I did think that Tory Lanez was gonna get off because of all the holes that was within the story and the misinformation. Because it seemed like when everything first happened, everybody had a certain story. Even the witness that actually came up from what he was saying from when everything first happened to actually making it to trial, it seemed like everybody's story just kind of changed. And when I feel like when everybody's story starts to change, I feel like it just kind of loses like the credibility of everything.
Whose story
Now we do
specifically
know that.
changed? So just so I can know.
Megan.
So for number one, Megan's story did change.
Where did it change from?
Her story changed a lot. So from when she even did the interview with Gayle King,
That's not.
her
But
story
that's
changed.
the point. That's not the court. Like that's the. This is what I was telling Brother William. It's like there's the court of public
Hold on one
opinion,
second.
and
Hold
I don't want to cut
on
him off, but
one second, G. Yeah, give him a chance. Give him a chance to rock before you respond.
Well, I was gonna let him talk, but what I'm saying is, so I understand what you're saying that it's not the court, but to getting up to that point, when people do interviews and stuff like that, they're doing that to try to make themselves look good in the public opinion. So with the public opinion, she came on, Gayle King asked her, the questions, whatever she was gonna ask her, and she gave her answers. But it seems like once we get to court, everybody's story changed. Now, from the only person story that I can't say changed was Kelsey, because we really didn't hear much from her. But when she did get on the stand, it just seems like everything she just wasn't telling the truth. It just seemed like she just wasn't telling the truth. And from the information that I gathered from everything that happened, to me personally, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, I feel like the case really didn't solve who actually shot her, because we still don't know whether or not he shot her or whether or not the actual friend shot her. And I feel like that the evidence that was compiled against Tory, I still don't think that it was enough evidence that to convict him of all of the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. But at the end of the day, we do know that somebody did shoot Meg. So, I mean, we do want to get justice for her. We want to know who shot her. We're not lying. We're not saying that she's lying about her getting shot, but it's just that I feel like they didn't really too much pressure on Kelsey.
Did she get? I'm still trying to decide. Did she decipher if she actually got shot, or was it a ricochet from a bullet? Was it a direct "I'm shooting you in your foot," or was it a ricochet from a bullet?
But that's what I'm saying. We'll never really actually know the story, because right now until this day, nobody knows, even the public. We don't know what actually happened, because everybody's story changed up and everybody was given different things and versions of the story. We don't know what happened. All we do know is she got shot, but we don't know what actually happened that night. We don't know who had the gun. We don't know who actually shot. We just don't know anything. We just know that she did get shot. And at the end of the day, we just don't know whether or not it was Kelsey or if it was Tory.
Jesus Christ.
We'll never know that story.
Okay, somebody got their mic on.
My bad.
Oh, no worries. You got input, bro?
No, I don't have much info. I just had a little insight I want to win. I didn't know how the queue works. This is my first time doing this. I'm sorry, fellas. You guys have such great insight, and it's really sparking my mind on a lot of different things. I've kind of been keeping up with the story, but I've even heard some tips and details here that I hadn't heard. But my overall opinion, and the things got me curious about this and why I'm listening to you gentlemen speak, is I've just been struggling with why our first inclination as a culture is to doubt a person's story. I don't see what Megan Thee Stallion or anybody else would gain from saying person A shot me when it was really person B. I can't see myself getting shot at, by a person and being less mad at the person that shot me than the person that's next to them and blame it on the person that's next to them. So I've always trusted what Megan was saying, and I don't even see the difference between a ricochet bullet or a direct bullet. You were shot, there's lead in your foot, you're bleeding, somebody needs to go to jail. So um, it's kind of crystal clear to me. There seems to be, I'm
I
sorry, go ahead.
I don't mean to
Go
cut you
ahead, brother.
off, but this is what, because I literally just had this argument with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that it is crystal clear that she got shot and somebody needs to go to
Sure.
jail. My thing is, we want the right person
And,
to
and,
go
and
to
that's my
jail. We
point
don't
is
just want to just
who
put anybody in jail,
right.
because at the end of the day, act like people don't lie. We have people that lie about allegations all the
Okay.
time. So let's not act like people don't do
True.
that. Not saying that Megan
True. No,
lied.
I hear
I'm
you.
not saying that she
I hear you.
did, because she did get
Right.
shot. So we're not saying that she lying about that.
Three different people said he shot the gun.
That's not true.
Literally, it's true. The victim, the witness.
The victim literally admitted on the stand that she did not see him pull the trigger.
No, the
She
victim.
said this on the stand.
No, the
They asked
victim
her
says
directly,
she
"Did you see Tory
turned
Lanez pull the trigger?"
around
She
and
said
shot
no.
him. The person who recanted their story said he shot her.
That's not true either.
That is true. They literally
It's
have the
not.
whole thing and they crossed her with it. It is true. They literally have
She
a
literally
text where she
admitted on the
said,
stand she did not
listen, stop
see
saying
him
what she
shoot.
admitted on the stand. That's the point. Like you're missing the cross. Like she literally sent a text. They literally used it as evidence. The jury requested it at the end. Her whole tape where she said Tory shot Meg. She said it. Not when she got up and said on the stand, but literally the 2 times they interviewed her and the text she sent right after it happened. That's all the same evidence. And then the witness whose house it was behind said she saw 5 flash, or he saw 4 or 5 flashes come from the short guy. Literally, it's 3 different people,
I feel like
and it's
it sounds to
and it's GSR on his hands. Like this ain't
it,
that deep.
it sounds to me like you didn't follow the case, to be honest. Because if you followed the case, number one, he said he saw the initial shots come from Kelsey. Both Kelsey and Tory have gunshot residue on them.
No, the
Kelsey
initial
said
shot came from
Kelsey,
Kelsey, and then the following shots came from the short guy.
right,
Now, if you want to
right.
argue, should Kelsey be in jail
Kelsey,
too? That's a different thing. But
that's not what I'm arguing.
I'm just saying it's not
But
about
what
the
you're saying
Kelsey
is
shoot a gun.
nobody definitively in this case, none of the 3 witnesses, Megan, Kelsey, or the Sean Kelly, the neighbor, said they saw Tory Lanez shoot.
All
Sean
three
Kelly,
of them said it.
you just that's just not true.
Literally,
Literally, if you
all
go back and
three
look
of
at the
them.
All three
transcripts,
of them
bro.
say it.
I'm sorry.
He's correct. All 3 of them in the case did say that they saw Tory Lanez shoot
This
Yeah,
is
Megan.
you're
crazy.
wrong as well. You can look at the transcripts of the case
We
when they asked Megan
he
directly.
already
They,
did. She literally said Tory shot me. Kelsey,
yes,
listen,
but they asked
Kelsey
her, did
gave
she
2.
see him pull the trigger?
Listen,
She says
Kelsey
no.
gave.
I don't know what just happened there, but King like Corey, pick up the conversation, bro.
No, I was just saying, like I don't, like I said, I've been following the case every day, looking at all these reporters every single day, following it, and I know for a fact, like I said, they asked Megan directly, "Did you see Tory Lanez shoot you? Did you see him pull the trigger?" She says no. They asked Kelsey, "Did you ever see Tory Lanez pull the trigger?" She says no.
Yeah, but
Sean Kelly,
you're looking at something specifically, right?
I'm looking at the stuff that's admissible in the case to
That,
what's
but
being
it's
said on
not.
court.
You're talking about
What's she?
what's saying on the stands. That's
And
not
that's the
just
most
the.
relevant
It's
information,
but it's
dog.
not though. That's
It
why I'm trying to
is.
tell you. This is somebody who goes to
You're wrong.
jail. Listen. It's a rapper named Snoopy Blue that passed away. He got shot by another set of gangs. He described the people to the T. Literally, he got on the stand and said, I didn't get that testimony. I didn't get that testimony at all. Them people got incarcerated by the statements he made. Tory got incarcerated by the statements they made. They couldn't get up there and change their mind. This is the state of California versus Meg. They proved they shit there, so it didn't matter what Kelsey got on that stand and said. They have 2 interviews. They might even take her to jail. They have 2 interviews, and they have a text where she said Tory shot Meg. So when you're saying that they didn't say that, you're talking about a specific time, but you can't get up there and change your mind and say you don't want to be a snitch. This is what California does great. That's what I'm saying to you. So when you said, yes, they didn't get up on the stand that day and say, yeah, I saw him do it. But every last interview they gave, Tory shot Meg. The witness jumped up there whose house is behind and said, Tory, 5 flashes came from the little guy. It don't matter who else shot the gun. It's GSR on his hands. It's his gun. Literally.
It's not his gun either. The gun is unregistered, bro. That's why motherfuckers is a lot of. It was a whole lot of the whole time. It's been misinformation around this whole case, and I can hear it now. People reiterating misinformation, bro.
Okay.
Well, here we go. We have a chat here in this Twitter Spaces. So, King, if you want to drop a link or something to unregistered gun and who it might be, feel free to share the additional information. Anyone else want to chime in on this?
I think that for the whole case, I think that we had a lot of blog sites, websites. We had a lot of people that were biased against the case. So I think that depending on where you were getting your information from, it would either lean towards Megan or it would lean towards Tory. I think that for all of the information, so I do believe that it was a lot of misinformation out there because of all the biases that were out there. You can clearly tell when you read information from a certain site or from a certain page who was biased and who was Team Megan and who was Team Tory. So I think that it was a lot of misinformation that was out there. And that's why I say that we would never really know what actually happened that night. We would never really know who actually shot Megan. All we know is that Megan got shot, but we wouldn't know who actually did it. Whether or not Kelsey did it, whether or not Tory did it, or whether or not both of them did it. Because we do know that both of them shot the gun. We do know that the gun residue was on. We had the DNA from Kelsey and Tory. Both of them had gun residue on there. So we know that both of them shot the gun. So whether Kelsey shot first,
but that doesn't matter. So now if you want Kelsey in jail, then that's fine. But that's the problem when they saying, unlawful firing of a firearm with blah blah blah. Somebody can get hurt shooting it. That's still his case. Now the thing about California is Kelsey is not like this. Could be a situation where they could arrest her, but it doesn't change whatever happened. Like it could be 2 people who fired a gun. Nobody's against that. Maybe Meg or Tory don't want to tell on her, but that don't change that it's GSR on his hands. So he fired a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like simple.
BTSN exclusive. Tory Lanez Ain't the Hell to Die on BTSN.watch. Follow us on Twitter. We got the purple. I want to hear some lady's point of view. We got the Purple Rose. She joined the conversation. Purple Rose, want to open up the mic to you to give you your input.
Hi. I was late to the conversation, so I was just listening to everybody putting their input. But from my perspective, I think that I know earlier my uncle was on live with Van, and he was saying he didn't want it to believe that it was like a black man versus black woman thing, but I think that's pretty obvious because a lot of people have put their personal perspectives or opinion on this case. And the crazy part about it, from my perspective, because everything is perspective, Megan didn't even press charges. Like his sentencing had nothing to do with assault or battery or like attempted murder or anything. It was literally for possession of a weapon. And I just think it's interesting how so many people are so upset and calling this girl a liar when she didn't even want to tell on him. He was the one who was going out and did the press tour, made the album, did everything, and it became like this big back and forth. And her whole thing was like, I was trying to have your back. So I think it's just very interesting because the media does have a way of PR, and the media does have a way of manipulating things to sway one way or sway another way. But I think it was just very interesting how people took such a strong stand against this woman, or such a strong stand against Tory, when she didn't even press charges. Like, they had a helicopter, somebody in the neighborhood probably caught the cops on them, but she didn't even run to the cops. So that's just my perspective.
No, can I say something? I absolutely want to agree with that, and I think that was my kind of my inclination to say before, was that it just amazed me how we all ran to separate corners. But I do want to say I don't think that the media has to do a lot to allow us or make us want to do that. I think that's just human nature. And if we're not careful, these biases can creep in, and we can, make judgments that aren't really lawful, or they aren't justice, based on our blind biases. So I really want to say that I agree with her totally. And also, I did not know I was speaking with the great Glasses Malone. Shout out to my G. Makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it's an important conversation we need to have. So that's dope.
I think we kind of misremembering history a little bit. Just this, I understand it's been 2 years, but the charges actually didn't come until Megan went on live and said that Tory shot her. It had been like at least a few weeks between that
It has
time.
been a
But she
long
The
but
charges
she
didn't
still
come till.
didn't press charges though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm saying it's up to
The
the
state
state
of
to press the
California did
charges.
that.
I'm
Well,
saying,
he
but
was the one
the
out here.
state.
That's the thing, though. He was out here playing with her. So if you playing with me and I got hurt, and if I say something, that it is what it is. She didn't go back and go, "Oh, he did this." He was playing with her. Tory. To
I,
be real, this is the most we've ever talked about Tory Lanez ever in his whole freaking career. Which is why he capitalized on this moment. And also, too, if Tory Lanez was so innocent and didn't do anything, why didn't he go sit on the stand? Why did he tell his side of the story? Because he knew that the cross examination was going to rip him up on that stand. If you innocent and your defense team, you got the best PR team in the world, your defense team has been defending you, why didn't you go sit down and tell your side of the story?
that's not
Yo,
always how court cases
Doc,
work.
That's not how
But I
Dr.
also,
Harris,
okay. All right.
I just
sorry,
want to
Dr.
point to the
Harris has a
top.
hand up. Dr. Harris has his hand up. We'll quick just interject the conversation. He's been waiting for quite some time, so give him a chance to give his input as well, but keep the conversation going.
Uh, yeah. Thank you, BTS, and I just want to say in regards to what the purple I don't know your name. Sorry, the purple rose. Sorry, just said in regards to just because someone doesn't want to testify, the way it's set up, it's not supposed to go against them. It's akin to someone going for a settlement. There's so many reasons why they don't want to testify. There's so many reasons why people don't want plead the fifth. We can turn this whole thing on Kelsey as well, and where she plead the fifth on certain questions. And yes, I hear your point in regards to people not wanting to testify or not, but it's one of these points that, well, it's really irrelevant, because end of the day, you don't have to provide your own testimonies. Um, Sometimes your own testimony could be incriminating others. There are so many
Sure.
reasons why people don't actually provide testimony to in a specific
You may
case.
even want to testify, and
Um,
your lawyer may tell you or advise you not to. Let's say that as well.
exactly. Exactly. There's so many. I don't think that's fair to ever hold on, not just
Yeah,
Tory, but
absolutely.
anyone really. And I'm glad that in the US you guys actually have that option, because over here, I'm going to be a barrister, which is which is what you guys call attorneys over there. We don't actually have the option to choose whether we want to testify or not in the UK. We have to testify regardless. So it's you guys are lucky to have that system
Mm.
there, because at least your freedoms are paramount and protected there. Whereas over here, you're testifying regardless.
Mm.
Like it doesn't matter. Like it would literally go against you if you petition not to. Like it would literally go against you. So yeah. So end of the day, um, I do think, like I said earlier, I wanted to apologize earlier for putting out that little bit of misinfo earlier. I'm not sure who heard it, but I did say that the gunshot residue wasn't on Tory Lanez's hand and Glasses Malone corrected me. I do want to say sorry for that because I had my wires crossed a little bit there.
Well, we ain't me
No,
neither, and good thing we got people like Glasses Malone because he real good at correcting, being right on shit.
yeah,
I just
Yeah, and the homie
yeah,
King and the homie King like Corey, he King like Corey has been giving his input. I think that he's been giving some very solid
sure,
information as
I
well.
agree.
Yeah.
We got the girl Tracy on above. She's been trying to jump in for a minute as well. Tracy, you got some input on this topic?
Yes, I do. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep, I got you.
Yeah, we
Yes, we
can.
can.
I was gonna say, so I personally think that Tory Lanez spent too much time on the court of public opinion instead of actually trying to prove himself in court. Because in a court case of trying to figure out if somebody is guilty or not, usually all you need to prove is that there is reasonable doubt. You don't even need to prove that you're not guilty. All you need to prove is that there could be some potential that you're not guilty. Maybe there's a 50-50 chance. And he did a very good job with his whole PR team trying to prove that in the court of public opinion. But he did a completely, as we can see, terrible job trying to actually prove that in court. Because the bar for that is way lower than anything. So I don't know how his lawyers or whatever it is did this. I mean, to be honest, if to give my honest opinion, I think he's guilty. I think it's very difficult to prove in court because he's actually guilty and he did shoot that girl, which is Megan. But he went all around the place like trying to smear her, like going up over like all the people that she apparently slept with, like just so many that like try to paint her as a bad guy, whereas the true evidence or the true fact is did you shoot her or not, which should have been the most important thing that he should have gone to court to try to prove. But I don't know. I just think he focused on the things that were not really important, and he went about this in such a like a PR way instead of actually trying to get to the truth, which is what everybody here is trying to get to. So I don't know. I to me, I think he handled it completely wrong, and yeah, that's
He's
what.
bringing his son to court every day just to leave him in the hallway.
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. Like, what is all this? Like, I mean, I think anybody with even like everybody could see through it. Everybody could just see that it was just not. You know how something is so fake and duplicate. I don't know what the word is now. That you can just see he's not really. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing.
I mean, I think it's you and the jury. It's the thing that rings loudest to me again is that he could have taken a deal early. He could have done reckless endangerment and pled down. He took it all the way to court.
Mm.
And then when he got to court, he didn't take the stand and say, well, actually, Kelsey pulled the trigger.
That's my point.
He didn't do that. He had the opportunity. I'm not saying that he, was required to do that to prove his case. For one reason or another, he and his legal team decided not to do that.
It's called perjury.
And away from that, his legal team is the only reason that 80-minute recording of Kelsey's statement in September was even admitted as evidence. Kelsey got up there and started pleading the fifth, asking for immunity. Weird stuff. The prosecution asked the judge, hey, could we admit her testimony her statement from September? The judge said no. Then in cross-examination, defense got up there asking Kelsey if she was pressured by the prosecution, by the DA. Prosecution came back and said, hey, judge, since there's question about the questions we were asking Kelsey, can we now admit this 80-minute statement we got from Kelsey in September? Then the judge said yes. I don't think Tory picked the right legal team. I think Tory's lawyers let him down. For anybody who's over here thinking that, it wasn't proven beyond a reasonable doubt, I think we can blame Tory's lawyers for that.
I think that is because over the past 2 weeks where the case has been going on, I've been in spaces and areas of Twitter where people have been following it really close. Now I feel like this is like one of the first places I've been in since this case has ended. I feel like this is more of a representation of the average person or the common person who's been more waiting on the verdict than following the case. Because even beyond that, is things that in this case where like I said, the young lady Tracy, she said like it's not hard to prove reasonable doubt, and it's why most people, at least that I talked to, that thought that doubt was definitely there regardless. The fact you have a third party witness that says that he saw two women fighting and a woman shot the first shot, and the fact that the two women, one who asked for immunity, both being drunk, are the only both admitted that this fight even happened, is doubt enough because that's motive for Kelsey. I feel like it's ironic that all these details get ignored. And I think there are implicit biases against black men being violent in this primarily white jury that may have played a role in this. Also, the fact that when this trial was scheduled right before Christmas, court shut down around this time. People don't want to come back after Christmas. They already lost two jurors in the process of this trial. I just think the whole thing was handled horribly. Even the prosecution, you get up some of the witnesses, like the social media expert, like they were asking them questions as to why they didn't do stuff, and the answer was basically shit. I didn't think it was necessary. Like they didn't even check to see if Tory Lanez runs his account. The detectives admitted that they never saw Megan Thee Stallion's initial Instagram live. Like this whole thing was handled sloppily. The fact that Kelsey's DNA was never taken to even be tested against the weapon was crazy. How do you find somebody with gunshot residue from a scene and then you don't test them from DNA on a weapon? Like all these things just show how sloppy this thing was handled. And even if there was no case from Tory, just how sloppy this thing was handled is reasonable but not enough. That yeah, it's weird.
Do you feel like the Tory's defense did a good enough job making the points that you're making now?
I do. I'm getting all these points from him. Like I said, going into this case, I didn't
Wait.
even.
From who? From Tory's lawyer?
Yeah, I think his name was George something. Yeah.
All right. So you feel like he did a good enough job, and yet the verdict didn't go in that direction.
Yeah, like I said, it goes into what I said. Especially with this case, it's hard to be unbiased and not be affected by the outside realm. I don't see how you can get presented with the facts that we're presented in this case and be good. But outside of just being impacted by the outside realm, social media, so on and so forth, like I said, this is a primarily white jury. You're supposed to be judged by a jury of your peers. These people have implicit biases. We know there are stereotypes about black men being violent and all these other things. So people have their implicit biases going into this. So I don't think that this verdict came from what was presented. I think it was more based off other things.
Do you feel like both the prosecution and the defense were both a part of jury selection?
Yes.
Do you think that
Well, I
they
know it is.
could have done a better job of jury selection?
Well, if you know how jury selection works, you only get a certain amount of vetoes. Like you only can vote out a certain amount.
I'm just asking your opinion. I'm not asking how this.
Yeah, I'm saying, but I'm saying even if I feel like they did a good job. There's only so much you can control.
I do know. I think we all probably know enough that there is strategy that goes into these type of things. I'm not sitting here trying to come at you by any means, but
No, I understand that. Like I said, in this neighborhood,
Tory,
like I said,
I don't think Tory's lawyers did a good job to prove the point that it sounds like you're trying to make.
Like I said, I'm basically reiterating what was said in court. But okay.
I guess what he would be saying is that he wouldn't be able to get a fair enough trial due to the biases that exist against black men and the location of the trial itself, being that there weren't enough black people to give him a jury of his peers. I feel some of that, I definitely do, but I also do think that there's biases that someone in Meg Thee Stallion's shoes would be dealing with, and so that would make it sort of
Me- Me- I don't know what I mean, but Megan's not on trial. Tory was on
I
trial.
understand. I understand.
So
No, I understand that, but credibility on both sides are being weighed, no matter how you want to look at it. We have to listen to Megan's story, who was claiming to be a victim, and then we have to listen to Tory's story. And then you weigh the two things. And I think what Justin is pointing at is that if the jury was selected, the way that the system is set up, there was a evidence presented by the defense, and he had the opportunity to combat that, and then yet and still this verdict's come down, we have to accept it. And it just sounds like there are a lot of people that aren't happy with that. And I totally get that. I was never a person looking at this from a bias standpoint, although I do admit, like you hinted towards earlier, I did not quote unquote follow the trial as closely as you seem to have, but I did keep up with it. And everything I saw at every turn, there was never any doubt in my mind this guy shot this young lady, from her prior statements, from Kelsey's prior statements, all of the, you might not want to use it in the trial.
can I
Sure.
ask you what you thought when you heard the neighbor's statements?
Hold on, give him a second to finish before your follow up.
I'll say that the neighbor statement did cause pause for me initially, but again, you have to use all of the evidence that is given. And just like Glasses pointed to, you can't just get up on the stand and go, I didn't mean that then. You said that. We have to present that to the jury and give them all of the evidence that is in the case. Uh, so it kind of, like as we say, it is what it is.
I guess because you said there was never a point in doubt, but then you said there was cause for
There
pause when the
was, because like you said, when you get more information, you have to take it back to the calculator and put it in and see. We all kind of know how things happen, on the streets and just in life. Period. You get more information. It comes out the later it goes, and every step of the way, you do have to stop and this guy was apparently on the scene. You want to get as much info as you can. We do know about how shaky eyewitness statement can be at certain times, but again, you take all of that information you have, put it in your calculator, and what I always came out with is, at the end of the day, she said, well, both of these young ladies said, Tory shot Meg. And now I don't want to build from there, but that is a very big, statement from two different people on the scene. I understand the gunshot residue. I understand a lot of things that would give one cause for pause, but at the end of the day, someone shot this person. We weren't there, so we have to go with the evidence.
so
BTS
go ahead.
BTSN exclusive. Tory Lanez at the Hill to Die on BTSN.watch. Follow us on Twitter. BTSN is 100% the move. My question I want to put out there just real fast is there opportunity for him to fight these charges? I mean, there's an appeal, of course. Is this appeal worthy? Is he going to keep the same legal team? Is there enough here for an appeal? Is he going to take this one on the chin? What you guys think?
I think you
You
100%
gotta
appeal, no matter
appeal.
what.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely appeal.
But
But
I do like what you said about the legal team. I mean, hey, you got to throw everything you got at it. And the guy has, obviously access to resources where you might want to look at it, switching it up. He was given the opportunity to defend this guy and get him out. It didn't work. You want to, put an appeal forward. That's got to be underway as we speak. And if he wants to change, that can be sort of shaky from what I understand, changing legal teams. I would love Glasses to come in and say something about that in the middle of an appeal. But yeah, you might want to explore that.
I just think to go back to one of your statements a couple seconds ago, I do think it's interesting. We talk about two women, two women, Kelsey and Megan. Number one, like I said, they didn't. Neither one said they saw him pull the trigger. They both admitted that they did not see him pull the trigger. Uh, but two women who I think their credibility should be called into heavy question when they both omit a fight that happened. Both of them. Kelsey admits to lying to the prosecutors in September. She says, "Yes, I lied to y'all in that interview." And then thirdly, both of these young ladies, and Tory for that matter, all admitted to being drunk at this time. So that would leave me personally, I don't know how everybody would be the third party witness that has no stake in this and who presumably was not drunk as the most credible source of information. But
I wanna say this sensitively because in my heart I still feel like this is something that we could have like not we, I'm talking about it felt like they had an opportunity to handle it in house. I still kind of want the bro to get off, not really off, but I want him to
Well,
go free without saying that Megan that she's not worthy of getting justice. Like I want her to get all the justice that she deserves, but I feel like this is something that could have been handled in house because I just don't feel like if somebody shoots at you 5 times, they're going to miss or you're going to get a fragment. I just don't feel like it was malicious or intentional.
5 times is a lot of times. Real quick, Jay, I want to bring Glasses in because often ask for Glasses' opinion on whether Tory should appeal. How that would go.
I mean, he should have played a long time ago. It's like it was obvious. Like California ain't gonna pursue nothing without no GSR. They're not gonna pursue nothing without bullet fragments. Really, the only charge he could pursue, like he could really appeal, was the assault with a semi-automatic handgun. And I think California gave that charge to him to trump it up because they were so embarrassed at the publicity stunt that Tory team was doing public wise, as if he was just some innocent black man being charged. California don't take that shit lightly as a state when it comes to laws. They really will make an example. So like he can appeal it. He going to jail, but he can appeal that part. The assault with a semi-automatic. It's 3 different charges, right? It's the assault with a semi-automatic, carrying a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Those 2 is gonna stick because it's GSR on his hand. So he did discharge a firearm with gross negligence, and he is in a car that nobody else is claiming. That's a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle. So I think his best chance is to appeal the semi-automatic handgun, that assault charge. I mean, that's the one he got action because Meg never said Tory shot at me. She said he started shooting at the ground, at my feet, right? So that's the thing. Like there was no true, you would have to prove true intent to assault with a deadly weapon. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little more complex. But I do think California did that just being on some shit because they team tried to embarrass them. Like people, like I said, people keep making this Meg and Tory. It's not as Meg didn't even want to go through with this shit. You know what I mean? California don't play about discharging firearms in public. Like you can have a gun and get off. But if you discharge a weapon, your ass going to jail. So it was already from the start. He knew 2 years ago he tested positive for GSR. He knew 2 years ago that they was gonna be able to place witnesses that said he shot the gun. So you plead out at that point because you really did. This girl said you ain't trying to kill him. She was honest. She didn't say like she made it really simple. She didn't really try to put you in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't the goal. California just don't play. And that's why I think everybody's getting lost. That's all. They getting lost thinking it's Meg versus Tory, and it's really the state of California versus Tory.
With this does anybody know what extradition is going to look like for Tory Lanez? Because from what I read, some of the news clippings or articles said that he was going to be extradited. Him being extradited to Canada, which is his home country, would that affect his appeal in any way? Does anybody know?
I think he has to serve his time in California State Prison, and then if he does get sentenced to this time, has to serve it out. But then he'd be deported after he served his time.
Yeah, he getting deported for sure. He
I
should
read
have
the
pled
home.
out long time ago, man. I don't know why this nigga Jay didn't plead out. Like if
Yeah,
you
he
in the
definitely get
streets,
deported.
I don't know why he didn't plead out, Jay. That don't make sense to me. Why the
I
fuck
I
didn't you
I,
plead out?
I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
because
wild.
they are playing the game of public opinion court. If he pleads out, then he looks guilty. I think that I I
Looking
think that
guilty is better
I
than
think
being
Tory's goal
found
was to prove his innocence, not to beat the case.
And it don't make sense.
You got the homie.
He's obviously not innocent. Like that's the
I
point of the
disagree. I
charge.
don't think it's obvious, but
It is obvious. The point is when it's GSR on your hand, that means you fired a firearm.
what about Kelsey then?
That you have to charge her. What does that have to do with anything? If me and you listen, this is another situation I've been in.
And even
If
the
me,
prosecutor, they
just, just,
argued that
just,
the Kelsey got on
just,
the
just.
GSR got on Kelsey because Tory was hitting her.
That's not
Like
that's not how it works. It don't work that way. That's not
I'm
how.
saying, that's what the prosecutor
Yeah,
argued.
but that's not how the GSR work. That's not even how GSR work.
I
Like
mean,
that ain't. Listen,
the gun expert said it does. So I mean,
listen. I hear you, and I'm a gun expert because I've been shooting these motherfuckers at niggas for a long time. Listen to what I'm telling you. If two people shoot a weapon, if me and you go shoot at somebody, I got a 9, you got a 45. We go shoot at some nigga. My bullet can hit them. Boom, boom, boom. They catch us. They got 2 guns firing. We get the same charge. We get the same charge. It don't matter if it was the bullet, even if Kelsey fired, it don't matter if it's the bullet, you know what I'm saying, that Kelsey shot, or if it's the bullet that Tory shot. The only problem is neither one of them told on Tory if she shot the gun. The problem is he shot the fucking gun.
But Kelsey also shot the gun as well.
Then that means that Meg didn't tell on Kelsey and Tory didn't tell on Kelsey.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I said that at the end of the day, everybody lied. Everybody was lying.
But it don't matter. They didn't lie on Tory. That's the problem. They didn't lie on Tory.
Should Tory have told on Kelsey?
GSR on. Hell yeah, if he ain't thugging.
We still don't actually know who shot Megan, though. Because you're saying that nobody lied on Tory, but at the end of the day, Kelsey was the first one to shoot the shot. That shot could have.
That don't change. That's not how
actually.
That's not how. That's not how it worked.
I mean, that's how it will work for the assault charge, not the.
I have a thought.
Yeah,
what if Tory was trying to restrain Kelsey from shooting? And he got the gunshot residue on him.
You won't get. That's not. You don't get GSR on you like that.
Hold on, stop. So glasses. If you shoot at somebody 5 times and you shake my hand right after, I'm not gonna have gunshot residue on me.
No,
that's a lie. You're wrong, bro.
I actually shook multiple people's hands and literally had a case just like this, and there was never no gunshot residue on them.
Literally, the gunshot, the people who do these investigations on a daily basis said that that's how shit can get transferred.
I'm telling you, literally, somebody who shot a gun, that's crazy. Literally had to shake somebody's hand, and literally they didn't test dirty, and they actually went and did it.
Tory didn't have a shirt on.
Component of heat that comes along with GSR.
Shit,
it's way more.
Niggas think they know more than forensic science.
Tory didn't have a shirt on. How did he not have gunshot residue on his chest and torso area?
It don't matter where you. The problem is on his hand.
But he was if he was discharged and sitting down, the gunshot residue would have hit his chest. He didn't have a shirt on.
It's on his hand. It don't matter if it's on his chest. The hell does that even matter? Like, it's not that complicated. Like, he never had a chance, dog. He never had a chance.
So you really don't think it's weird that Kelsey took an immunity deal, and she had the gunshot residue on her hand, and she stepped up there and plead the fifth.
Now I watch niggas, dog, literally, who told on other niggas in trial in cases, right? Made statements on other niggas. Get up on the stand and not want to look like a snitch. So not actually say exactly the same thing they said in their statement. Not say the same thing they said in their statement. Feel me? And then the DA turn around and use the statement and still convict on it. You can't get up there and change your mind. If you said something 2-3 times, if they got text messages, you sending shit, you can't get up there and change your mind. Nobody buying that shit. It was always bad. It was always he should have played out. He always looked bad. The press got him confused. The public got him confused. If it was a nigga that actually been in jail and been in trouble enough, they'd have told that nigga to plead out. It could have been just gross negligence with the firearm. Simple. Nigga probably got 90 days and deported, maybe banned from the country for 2 years. He played the full game of trying to make this motherfucker look bad. And he paid for it.
Because maybe that nigga really didn't shoot her. What about Kelsey?
If I'm an innocent man, bro, I'm gonna fight this shit if I got the money to fight.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That's where y'all wrong at. This what I was telling the man from the start. It ain't about money, man. It ain't always about money. Sometimes this shit just look bad on you. You just watch Gunna take an alpha plea where he pretty much told on these niggas. in exchange to get out because he seen the evidence look bad on him.
Stop
The
saying it's not
evidence looked
about
bad.
money. Megan had a lot of money behind her. You know that.
This don't have nothing to do with Megan, dog. The state of California,
It's not
bro.
about
What are you
Megan. I'm
talking
talking
about,
about the
dude?
nigga has the money to have good lawyers and be able to fight this as long as he need be. So if I'm innocent, I'm not about to plead out, get deported from a country where I do most of my business, make most of my money, have this stain on my name when I can fight this and beat it if I'm truly innocent.
Well, he lost it.
Yeah, that doesn't mean he's not innocent. We know this justice system fails all the time.
No, I'm making a comment on your logic and your strategy.
It's just wrong.
What? Hold on. What kind of my logic, my strategy?
Well, no, I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. I'm saying Tory followed your logic and he followed your strategy, and then he got convicted. So you're gonna have to keep fighting.
Was the jury
but it
all
didn't have
women?
to be.
No,
It was
it's not.
Good question.
it was mostly women.
Yeah, Tory
It's not a
tweet. Tory
conspiracy.
tweet. He should have pleaded out.
This
Tweet.
not a conspiracy, man. This is like simple. Now I'm not saying there's more to the story, but that don't change the fact that it's GS on his hands. Literally, it's GS on his hands. They had 3 different people before you ever get there. So you notice they like evidence got discovery. They literally seen the discovery that Meg said you saw her shoot him. Kelsey said you shot her, and the fucking witness said it. So you had this in discovery. You don't like that's a bad attorney. If an attorney is doing that, he's just trying to make you like it's a highlight moment for his career. I'm gonna get you off. I'm gonna show everybody. Nigga, cost you your freedom, and you still gonna get deported. There was no way you saw that evidence in discovery and thought to yourself, "I got this." I don't give a fuck what happened. There's no way. Not nobody who ever been a criminal. You look at that, you be like, "Oh, this is fucked up. I need to work a deal." That's not no case you fight, no matter what money you got.
I'm gonna be honest. I just can't rule out no conspiracy, man. I can't. She got too much money behind her for her to lose this case.
What does the money have to do with anything?
It persuades the case.
This is the state of California. This ain't Meg against Tory.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But I'm talking about.
So what does money got to do with anything?
I'm sure you can recognize that Meg has a vested interest in this court case.
So much invested interest. So much invested interest.
Is that not true?
And I don't think that for the whole case, I believe that at the end of the day, if I feel like I'm innocent, that's what I'm. If I know that I'm innocent in my heart, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna take a plea if I know that I'm innocent. Why would I take a plea? If I feel like
because
I'm
literally,
and I feel like I can go to court and win this.
It's a ton of people every day who take pleas, man. This ain't about your feelings.
They don't have money to fight the case, bro. You talking about poor people?
It's a lot of people that got money that lost the same way.
So with the type of invested interest that Megan has behind her.
That don't matter, dog. This is a state of California.
It matters. I don't understand why you're not saying that. You keep saying it don't matter. It matters.
Can I ask a question, fellas? I just really want to get to the bottom of something. I really do, because this is the reason why I got into this chat. I swear to God. I didn't know who was in here. I saw the title, and I just wanted to ask one question. Because outside of Justin and Glasses, it seems like you guys and a lot of other people that I speak to are adamant about Tory's innocence. And it was so weird to me, and I just want to get this out. What's so weird to me is the contrast between y'all initial feelings and mine. I looked at this case and saw an incident where a man shot a woman. Nothing more, nothing less, no name. So what I want to know is, what is it about this particular case, or maybe it has something to do with other cases, that has you guys so sure that there's a fix or conspiracy, or that Megan Thee Stallion has enough pull within the entertainment industry to send a black man to jail for nothing? Because to me, I don't see where you guys are so you're so resolute in your idea that this is a setup.
I don't personally think that is a setup. I don't think that it's a setup. I don't think that she has pull or anything like that. My thing is that based on
the evidence,
everything that I heard and what was presented in court, to me, it seems like more so the person.
So here's the point. Here's the question.
Right. That's where I'm getting at.
So let's say that's true. then why don't he tell on her and put her
And
in
why
jail?
Because he
wouldn't
don't want to
Meg
look
say
like a
that?
snitch, bro. That's why.
No, no, no,
And he
no,
might
no,
have
no,
tweaked.
no. I
I
got the answer
disagree.
for
He
you.
might have tweaked.
I got the answer for you. I'm about to tell you why he wouldn't. If he was to get on stand, even if he wanted to tell on her, if he was to get on stand like, yeah, Kelsey did it, at the end of the day, that would still give the prosecutors a chance to cross-examine him, even if he was to get on there and say that. And if he was to get up there and get cross-examined, probably was gonna look worse for him. He got
Why
found
don't he?
guilty,
But
but
you're
if he would have
missing a
got
point. What
cross-examined,
about way
probably
before?
would have looked worse for him.
What about way before that? Why not tell the police when they questioning
Exactly.
you? All three of these people that said you did it. Nah, you know
But
what?
that
They all lying. Listen, they all lying. Before you even get to court, it was her.
When you say
He
three
was.
people
but
before you
listen,
get to court, do you realize the
okay,
eyewitness
but
reported
listen,
2 girls fighting? He never reported that a man shot. The eyewitness never said that early on. The eyewitness said that he reported 2 girls fighting, and that's it.
That's it.
Bro, I don't know where you got that from.
Bro, you not following this shit. I can tell that you don't know what you're talking about.
I
it's
hear you,
not about that.
but the
I
thing
want
is,
everybody
King,
to put this
I
in
could tell, I
perspective.
could see that. Just listen. I could see this from the beginning, the whole case. Like they already had this there. They already had Kelsey's shit in discovery. They already had Meg shit in discovery.
They
So
first talked to Meg in
let's say,
September, bro.
and
Just
then they
now.
talked to her. No, they did. That's not the first time. Are you crazy?
I want
Are you
everybody to
crazy?
put this in. Everybody
Hey,
put this in perspective.
hold on, Mister. Hold on, brother. Are you crazy? They did not just talk to them in no September. Like this case 2 years old.
Bro, do you realize it was detectives that had just on the stand? That was the first time they heard the 911 call was 2 weeks ago.
Corey,
This
listen to
shit
me,
was not
Corey.
handled right, bro.
Listen, Corey. Listen
It
to me,
got
Corey.
conspiracy written
I done
all
been
over it, man.
Corey. No, it don't. What
Bro,
the hell is wrong
do
with
you
y'all?
realize they
They
never
do the
talked to
same
the
shit to
driver?
California. They do the same shit to California all the time.
Everything in the
They're not even finna
conspiracy.
That's what
prosecute
I'm
this
saying.
case, bro. What is wrong with you?
I'm not even calling
Like
it a
y'all niggas
conspiracy.
tripping.
You
Like
just
they didn't
said that
talk to
though.
them 2 months.
I never said that. That was deep.
So they made a case, Corey, 2 years ago and never talked to them till September.
I'm telling you, they didn't. They didn't even talk to the driver.
Fucking
That's why they
crazy.
wanted to. Okay, like I said, they literally admitted in court today.
Corey.
Not today. I'm sorry, that's wrong. On Wednesday.
Corey.
Let me finish.
It's
Let me finish.
impossible, Corey.
Let me finish. They literally admitted on court on Wednesday that 2 years had gone by and they hadn't got to talk to the driver in these whole 2 years.
What the
That's why
fuck
they wanted
is
to
the
delay
driver got to do with anything?
That nigga was
He a witness in the car, my
Oh my
nigga.
God.
Bro, they
What
had
are we talking
2
about?
years ago. They had Meg's statement. Listen, 2 years ago they had Meg's statement. They had Meg's statement. They had your test. They had Kelsey's statement 2 years ago. This been in discovery 2 years. 2 years. So even if nothing else, 2 years, you had 2 people saying you shot this gun. You got GSR on your hand. What? This 2 years ago. Like what? This is crazy. Like this, it ain't deep. Like he should have been took a fucking plea. That's just stupid. And it was never a chance. From the first day, I'm like, there's no chance, dog. This is a California case discharging a firearm in fucking public. It's not deep. That's the problem.
It's just not definitive. I think that's where our questions come in. It's just not definitive that he was the only one that shot that gun.
It don't
That's not even what
matter
I'm
who
saying.
else shot the gun.
It's not about.
That's not how this
Yeah,
works.
that ain't.
It don't matter who else shot
Don't
the
lump me in
gun.
with that nigga. That's not what I'm saying.
It don't matter who else shot the gun, dog. He shot the gun is a problem. That's already he convicted. If they swing back around and get Kelsey, cause that's her problem.
Okay.
So that don't matter.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
But my thing is the charge of the assault with a semi-automatic firearm.
He's saying that's what he needs to appeal because that's the more vulnerable
That's
case.
what I think. But I think he got that coming
He should have
because
took
of
a
what he
deal.
was doing. Exactly. Yep. He got that coming because he dragged these people ass through this shit when it was obvious what happened.
What I was,
he dragged them. He went into the press.
Obvious what happened is crazy.
What I was saying.
But you missing a.
There's 3 different stories. I don't see how you think it's
obvious that he shot the gun. Period. That's where it stops.
Obvious he shot the gun.
It is obvious that he shot the gun.
That's
but
where
it's
it
also
stops.
obvious
Go
that
to jail.
Kelsey shot the gun.
That's the end of the case.
And
that's not where it ends when he gets charged with assault,
nigga. It's obvious that everybody. Megan was trying to protect somebody. Kelsey was trying to protect somebody. And Tory was trying to protect somebody.
None of it.
Which
None of that
led
even
to
matter.
all of them lying.
None of
that
That nigga
matters
popped.
in the case.
Listen, none of that even matter. They don't have. They don't have holes in this case. They don't have holes in their case against Tory.
There's no
The
holes
closest
in
one
the case.
is the only hole
We
in the
don't
case
even
is the
know.
assault with a semi-auto
We
weapon.
don't even know who shot
Just
Megan.
listen. That it's not about who shot Megan. They're not even
Megan
charging
is
nobody for
not.
shooting Megan.
It's
They
definitely
are
about
charging
who
somebody with
shot
shooting Megan.
Megan.
He's charged with
Because at the
assault
end of
with a
the day, she got
semi-automatic.
shot.
That's not the thing that got him hung. What got him hung is carrying a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle, right? Because nobody else claimed the gun, and he had the gun, right? They're saying it was his gun, right? This is what they said in the statements, not on a jury box. And then he discharged a firearm with gross negligence, which means in public. That shit is cooked. You cooked. Even if you overcharge the assault semi-auto, even if you overturn the assault, it's still 3 to 5 years. You would have probably got 30 to 60 days.
Jesus Christ.
Like, that's what
You
I'm
know
trying
what?
to tell you. Like, it don't take much to fucking.
I'm gonna go
It's
ahead.
not the other stuff. The other
Agree
stuff,
with you
I
on that. Because
genuinely think
that
it's even
is true.
trumped up.
If you are shooting a firearm recklessly, you will get time. I do agree with you on that.
So my point I'm telling you is the trumped up part, because I keep calling it a trump up. I don't think he assaulted her with a deadly weapon. She's never even said that. I think she became a victim. She was his gross negligence caused her to get shot, right? But the assault comes from all the other shit. This is where you're trying to embarrass California. I watch him trump up so many niggas charges doing this. Them niggas offered him a plea. He tried to play that shit wrong. It went bad on him. So even if he overturns that, you know what I mean? I don't think they're gonna go give him 15 years up in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I doubt it. He got some money, so he for sure ain't gonna probably get that. But I'm saying it would have been way simpler if he'd have played out, because he know he shot the fucking gun. The evidence says he shot the gun, and witnesses say he shot the gun. That's the problem. That's the whole conviction of the case. It's like when Thugger case, when I'm telling motherfuckers, like, it don't matter if he say he actually witnessed Thugger commit a crime. It's a RICO charge. The organization is being charged with racketeering and corrupt activities. That's why they were defending it, saying it's a record label. So if you say they're a gang, you defeat the whole fucking defense. You say you're a gang. Oh yeah, I'm admitting it's a gang. Oh yeah, I admit multiple people in the gang commit crimes. That's it. You lost the RICO charge. That's why it's telling. These are simple things. It's not about who she fucked. It ain't about who else shot the gun. None of that matter, because only if he shot that motherfucker twice, one time, nigga, you're going to jail. That's why
So
you plead out to work a deal.
You really think he would have did time just for shooting a gun?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's what
I can
the
agree with
charges
that.
were.
He would have.
I can agree with
That's
that.
one thing
That's
that
what his charges were.
I can agree
Do you
with
know how
you on
strict our
that.
laws here in California are?
Shooting a gun
If you shoot a gun in
recklessly,
California, you're going to jail in California. This is
Even if
California.
it's self-defense.
Period.
if
You're
anybody
going to
know
jail.
about gun laws, when you get your license, it's a lot of stuff
Don't matter.
that goes into that.
Every state got
And
different
it's
gun
so
laws.
much
And this
stuff
one,
goes into
We don't
it
have
with
no standard
gun laws.
laws here.
they don't have that,
Certain
dog.
stuff with guns. If you just shoot like that, you definitely go to jail.
I think he has enough money to plead out to like
money is not going to get you shit.
Okay.
He should have
Not
pled
in
out.
California.
What's the mandatory minimum on the gross negligence?
Now, I ain't gonna lie. At the end of the day, I don't think that money has nothing to do with it. Depending on what state you're in, if you shooting a gun recklessly like that, you definitely are gonna go to jail.
It
maybe
depends. It
if
depends.
we
If you're in a
was in
state like New
Texas,
York where they have
it
minimums,
probably would have been different. If we was in Texas,
If you have a,
it could have been
if you
different.
have a gun,
you cut out, bro.
He in the Matrix.
But I was gonna say
if you just have a gun in New York, you're going to jail. You don't got to discharge a firearm.
That's fact.
Right. I'm saying if
Wayne had all the money in the world in 2000 or so.
what's
Like
the
when
minimum?
I was with him.
But New York and California.
But you missing the point.
California
is different
just
where
as
you
bad with the laws.
It's not just as bad.
No, it's not.
California gun laws are actually very strict as well.
It's not like New York.
It's not like New York. If you get caught with a gun, you
York,
may not.
But it is strict though.
If you get caught with a gun, you may not go to jail. If you discharge a firearm in California, you're going to jail.
I'm saying, I'm asking you, is there a mandatory?
It's not a mandatory. That's why they make it to where they can charge you with different things depending on how it works. But every last person find a firearm in California, you get caught, you're going to jail.
Yeah, I disagree.
It's just that level. It's not really much to disagree about. There's somebody who go to jail. There's somebody who's been going to jail. Friends go to jail. I'm telling you, literally.
I mean, like if you go to jail, that means you know how to stay out.
Yeah, but that's true. But that's the point. That means that very aware of all of this stuff. Like, I get your point, man. I get your and gross negligence.
Some of the states with the strictest gun laws are California and New York. That's what Google says. So definitely have the strictest gun laws. I'm in Pennsylvania.
I
We
think
carry guns like crazy.
Kelsey should get charged as well, for sure. Because, like I said, I agree with you. Tory shooting the firearm recklessly, he's going to get time for that. But at the end of the day, within the case, we know that Kelsey also shot
But
the
we
gun.
also don't know what type of deal she might have struck. You know.
But
We
one of
do know
Glass's
what
point
deal.
was
We
he
know
said
what
it's
deal she
GSR
struck.
on his hands, so it's that
No,
simple.
no,
Know what deal she
It's
but what
just
I'm
struck.
on
saying is
Kelsey.
that could all be taken off the table due to her cooperation with the state. It's so easy to say, well, he had this and she had that, so they both go. But we both know people make deals and things are taken off the table by the strict letter of the law.
I mean,
Yes, they should.
I don't even think that even matter, big dog. Like, she might go to jail still. You know what I
No,
mean?
no,
Like,
I
I don't
understand
think.
that.
Yeah,
What I'm saying is it's not just
She can actually go to jail on the
that
perjury.
But
too.
but I'm saying regardless. Like, his problem is GSR and it's 3 people saying he shot a gun.
No, I understand what you're saying, Glass. I was just
Yeah.
making a point,
No, yeah. I'm with you. Yeah.
distinction that
Or
just
she, or
because
her.
she
Yeah.
had it doesn't
Or,
necessarily mean she definitely is going to jail, because we don't know what type of
yeah.
deal she may have struck to get that taken off the table for her. But yes,
But
Biden.
it feels like
Mhm.
I mean,
it
she got
kind of feels
immunity.
like hold on. It
That's the
kind of feels
deal that
like
she has.
Chelsea. But it kind of feels like Chelsea's the smartest one in this whole
Well,
situation. She kept her mouth shut, and she the one out here in the
That's
well,
street. You know
that's
what I'm saying? She's
facts.
the smartest one in the
say
whole
that.
situation.
Say that
That's
then.
definitely true. I could agree with you on that as well. She did, since that happened. Now, let's not get it wrong. She did make that little diss song. That wasn't used in the case. I don't know. She did come out and do that little
Well,
diss song.
it didn't
That
She
hurt
made
wasn't
a
her.
used.
song.
It was used in the
It,
case. They brought the lyrics back
right. It
last
wasn't hurting
It
her.
was.
Wait, she made a song?
Exactly. Nobody
She
heard it.
made a diss song.
Nobody heard it, so it didn't hurt her.
No, I heard it. That's what I'm saying though. If you was an actual lawyer, you would be digging
True
to try
that.
to find
True.
this shit.
Maybe.
You want to
Bro,
find this.
they used
No,
it and they asked her about
used
it in
it.
the case.
That was in the case. They used it.
Oh, okay.
They used it.
But yeah, it basically boils down to what you said earlier: is the ego. It sounds like somebody's ego got in the way, and they thought they had a stronger case than they did.
All right,
I
we're gonna
think that
beat.
is
At the end of the day, I think that people are always going to think that they have a stronger case than what they think they have. Because when you hire a lawyer, listen to your lawyer, or you can ignore your lawyer. Because at the end of the day, you paying them, so they can tell you something. But if you feel strongly about something, your lawyer, guess what your lawyer gonna tell you? Well, if that's what you want to do,
And that's the
let's do it.
exact reason this room is called Tory Lanez Ain't the Hill to Die On.
I think
Real. That's real.
I think at the I think at the end of the
Your
day,
lawyer literally could tell you if that's what you want to do, then shit, let's do
That's
it.
a bad
Because at the
lawyer,
end of
though.
the day, you paying your
No,
lawyer.
that's
Yeah,
a bad lawyer.
fire
Yeah,
that
it's a
man.
bad lawyer. That's definitely a bad lawyer. Because if I hire a lawyer, I'm gonna listen to everything that my lawyer telling me. Cause shit, I probably, unless I know for sure,
Well, this room proves that
because
the average
at the end of the
person does
day,
not know
I,
the law. We prove nothing
And
else.
I
We
lawyer
prove that.
and lawyers also is
Right.
self-serving. That's a self-serving business. You know what I mean? As much as it seems like it's about the defendants and prosecutions and blah blah blah, it's not. Like, it's a big moment. Like, people will get you to take it to trial for their big moments.
Mm.
Feel me? Like, niggas will take their shot. Like, lawyers they become celebrities after this. Remember, like,
The OJ trial.
The
Oh
Kardashian was
man.
probably, yeah, like the Kardashian father.
nah,
He wasn't even somebody that talked in the trial, that he became a huge lawyer
Right.
after that.
that's definitely true. I could agree with you
I
on
just
that.
had a client the other
Lawyers
day that
do
said,
get that. Lawyers
I
do
just had
get
a
Y'all
that
think
for
lawyer
he
sure.
gonna
client
have a
the
hard
other day.
time in the county jail for this?
She
Might
might.
got to
I don't
run a
know.
fade or two. I mean, I don't think nobody really cared, but they might
Hold
squabble
on.
him up a little bit. Somebody
Yeah, the
might try to
Purple
Nah,
squabble
Rose.
him.
I think they go
Yeah,
give
hold on,
him.
hold on, hold on.
He go.
Hold on, Purple Rose. You had a little input that you wanted to have. Give your comment real fast.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I just had a client the other day that was a lawyer, and she just told me that at the end of the day, the only people who lose are the people who are on trial because
That
What did she
That's
say?
it.
She said they get paid regardless, and the people who do lawyers who do criminal trials get a high off of sticking it to the law, but the only people who lose really are the people who are on trial.
I think at the end of the day, we question our legal system, especially how they treat black people all the time. And I see a lot of people. I'm not even talking about anybody particular in this case, in this space, but I see a lot of people like using this verdict as vindication for what they already believed when we know that the justice system get things wrong all the time.
Well, I think that goes both ways, right? I mean, I think that
Yeah, that's what I said. I wasn't talking about it particular here.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
People, either
had,
you're right, because if it was found out guilty, people would use that as vindication.
it would
But
then
like I
go
said, I've been talking to
the other way.
people, and because there was no solid evidence, I believe that we'll never know exactly what happened. So either way it went, people was going to either say justice wasn't served, it was going to be injustice either way.
Well,
That's what I
I'll say
say.
it.
That's how I feel.
I'm going to say this real quick.
Oh
There
Lord,
was solid evidence, but the
that's
question to me,
crazy.
I just disagree. So I mean,
hold tight. Let me finish. There was solid evidence. Now, the question to me is, was it beyond a reasonable doubt? And those two things aren't the same thing to me.
It was beyond a reasonable doubt that he fired the firearm.
Yes.
That's facts.
That's the case.
We can all agree with that,
That's
but
the
it's
case,
not
though.
beyond reasonable doubt. Because okay, I get what everybody arguing. Everybody is arguing that he did fire the firearm, and the fact that he did fire the firearm, that's the shit that's getting him in jail right now. Not the fact that he actually shot Meg. I get that because he fired that firearm, whether or not he shot Meg or not, he's getting time. We get that, but my thing is where it feels. I feel like at the end of the day, I think that you should look at Kelsey as well.
She's not on trial, big dog. That's all.
I know that, but that's what I'm saying.
So to look at somebody else is kind of what's the distracting part for the general public. Like this is the distract. I don't even think it was a great strategy from the defense. Like unless you had her to say, it makes sense if you don't have GSR on Tory. It makes sense if there's nobody saying Tory shot the gun and somebody just got shot. It's different when everybody is saying he shot her. And this is what I'm telling Corey. Like, fuck what they said in court. What does their statement say when they interviewed him right after? What does their interview say 2 months ago when they interviewed him? What is the text saying after? That's all of these same things are going into this court. They know people get manipulated. They know people get bought. They know people get scared. They know people start valuing different things. This is some old school shit for these crackers with that court shit. They know this shit. I watched this happen on every level. This shit was always a bad thing. And that's my point. Like, when people say we don't know what happened, we do know what happened. That's the problem. We know what happened. Do we know? She never said he shot her. He never said she was trying to shoot me. That was never the point. California picked it up that way. And then they trumped up the
she said that the
charges on
nigga said
purpose.
dance bitch, bro.
Yes, to shoot at her feet.
Her.
That's the point. That's why they didn't charge him with attempted murder or anything of real beef. They charged him with simple shit, and the more he pushed and fought the shit that they was offering, they trumped it up on him. They went after everything on him. This is what's happening. They know ain't nobody playing about their time. These people not playing about their fucking time. And because the GSR, he knew about that 2 years ago, Corey. 2 years ago. He knew it was 3 people saying he shot the gun 2 years ago. All this was known. So no matter what they came and said on that stand, it didn't matter. This was the evidence going into the case. That is a plea. Especially in this state, that's a plea. You plea out. That's
So
it. I can see
okay,
if he never shot any gun. There's no GSR on him. Nobody's
let me
saying
ask you
this,
this
and it's just
question.
our idea.
Hold on real quick. BTSN, Behind the Scenes Network. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got about 10 minutes left in this conversation. I'm going to give people who have something to say, who haven't had an opportunity to speak. Now's your chance to raise your hand if there's something you want to chime in on.
We got the purple rose. You have a comment?
My name is Nay, but I do have a question for Corey, because I was talking to my uncle the other day, Glasses, and we was talking about perspective, and you're very strong in your perspective and how you feel about the case. But why I just my thing is why are you so stuck in that perspective and you can't see the other side of the argument?
I'm not as strong as you may think that I am. I just think that I believe there was reasonable doubt. That's the part I'm strong in, is that I doubt it. Is that I feel like knowing what was presented in court, and I understand what the charge of him discharging the firearm in public. I understand that he was probably gonna get caught on that regardless. But that wasn't the main charge that he was interested in fighting. The main charge was the assault, which was that's why I'm not sure that he did that. I think that was Kelsey, just by what was said by Deshaun Kelly. I really didn't really care what nobody else said because they weren't really credible to me. Meg admits that she was drunk and her story don't line up with nobody else's. Kelsey pleading the fifth, took an immunity deal, all type of stuff. She didn't sound credible. The only person who had no vested interest was the neighbor. And I believe basically what he said. I believe there was a fight between two girls. I believe one of the girls went to the car, got a gun, shots went off. Something happened. Tory got the gun, and more shots went off. I don't believe. I don't. I'm not that strong that Tory didn't do nothing wrong.
So then that's why
I'm
you
saying I
plea
don't think
out.
he shot a name.
I like the way
That
you said
could be
that.
the case.
I like the way you said that. Tory grabbed the gun and more shots went off.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
You said that. Because that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah,
And that's what it looked like to me as well.
that
And
maybe could have been what really happened.
I don't see why people are not looking at that. People are just like, oh well, he shot the gun, so therefore he shot Megan.
But
I don't believe
I
that
think
is the
the
case.
conflict y'all are encountering is you are confusing two different stories. Is do you want to know what happened, or do you want justice? Because we don't have to.
Both.
Well, you can't. You don't have to know the entire story.
It's two separate
Those are
things.
two separate things.
No. I think that you do
Because
have to know
justice
the
is
entire
served.
story, because the entire story is going to let you know who actually shot the weapon and who actually hit Megan with the
Okay,
bullet.
but
That's
I
what's
think
going to
the
let you
the
know.
burden of proof
That's what
being on
I
the
want to know.
prosecutor.
I want to know the true
okay,
story. I do want justice as well, but I do want to know who actually
okay.
shot
Can I
her
say
also.
something?
The truth.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut nobody
It
up.
was a
No,
mistake.
please, no,
Okay,
please,
Nah, go
so
ahead.
in
Go
the
ahead.
case of that, when you're saying I want to know who shot X, Y, and Z, in some cases you may not be able to get a full story, but on the way to getting that full story, you may come across solid watermarks that go, this is a crime. This definitely is a crime. We may not have the entire case, but we know this happened. And in a case like that, you prosecute what you can prosecute. So we may not ever, like you said, we may not ever know who shot her. In lieu of that entire truth, we may have to settle for something short of that. And what we know is that this person definitely committed a crime. So we can say that. We can all agree to that. Whether we get the full story or not, that's still up in the air.
And the
We
rest of the story, and the
we
rest
can
of the
agree.
story, and the rest of
We
the
can.
story doesn't matter.
In this case.
That's the
Right.
problem. It
Yeah,
just
it's the
doesn't
I
evidence.
matter.
disagree.
That's why I
It
feel
just
like I
doesn't matter.
disagree when
Yeah,
everybody say
but
that the rest of the story, when
because
it
it don't
don't
matter
matter.
who else shot the gun. Like
It
it's
does.
not
I think
about
it
it.
does.
Just listen. If two people shoot a gun, two people go to jail. It
Mm-hmm.
don't matter if the other person go to jail. Both people go to jail. If they go to jail separately, if one person never, if you shoot a gun out this motherfucker, you going to jail. They got him on a possession case and discharging the firearm with gross negligence. We can all say he's guilty of these two charges based off the evidence. It's obvious.
True.
But it's the
True.
third
Now,
charge we talking about where we
right,
think the discrepancy is, which is
it's
the
not
most
a
serious charge.
but it's not a discrepancy. That's the problem. It's not a discrepancy. It's not about the assault. The assault, I literally agreed that it could be trumped up. Megan didn't even say he tried to shoot her like that. He said he shot at the ground and told her to dance. So again, this is California. This is what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with Megan. This is them saying we're offering you something fair because the evidence is mounted up. If you fight it, we're going to show you. They showed him. I'm not disagreeing. Like I just literally said he should appeal it. He'll probably beat that, but he's going to prison for the other shit. That's the problem, and he's getting deported.
Yeah, on the
That's true.
real.
And I'm not even disagreeing with you with
That's a
anything
good
that
wrap
you're
up.
saying as well. I think that everybody in here, we can agree that he shot the gun and that is a charge. We can all agree to that.
And we can agree Meg got shot.
We can all agree to that as well. We know for sure,
And
definitely
Meg
100%
said, and
that she
Meg
did
said,
get shot.
and Meg said he didn't shoot at me. He was shooting at the ground.
So she got shot indirectly.
That's why it's called gross negligence. They trumped up the assault with a deadly weapon because they were offering him some shit. He fought.
What you're saying that you feel like that they offered him something, declined that, went to trial and lost, basically.
That's exactly what happened.
Okay.
Tory had
So
all the options in the world.
my
And then Tory's legal team made legal mistakes, strategic mistakes.
and that's why I can agree with y'all as well. The only thing that I do disagree on, which, like I said, you said that it's not about whether or not if he shot or not, because he did shoot the weapon, of course. We know that. My only thing is, I think that they should look at Kelsey for perjury, and I think that they should try to get her back in court because at the end of the day, I think that she wasn't being truthful about everything.
Yo,
So I think
once
that they
Kelsey,
should try to get her back in court.
once Kelsey gets back in court, they're gonna start asking her if she was bribed. It's gonna be a different story now. Brand new cases.
Because of the bribe, because that itself is a charge as well. Bribe. You can't bribe anybody to lie in court.
We're about to
Because
wrap
again, that would come into perjury.
100%.
You just can't lie in court. You can't do that.
We're about to wrap up here in a second. I want to give my man Offly, CLT, Offly Charlotte. You got anything you want to chime in on?
I mean, I've listened to everyone go back and forth, and I think at the end of the day, I think everyone is there is a lot of emotional charge in this whole case. I do feel that the circumstances of the evidence presented is, in my opinion, the probable cause is not there on the assault on Megan. I don't see that. However, I do have to give credit to Glasses for making a good point. If you cut off, if Tory had cut off the ability to get to the assault by just taking the plea on the charges before, you don't get to the assault. So that's his fault. He allowed the assault to become play. He allowed the assault to come into play by not taking a plea on something he already was going to get charged for. So, you can go all in gambling if you want, but if you shoot craps, then it is what it is. I think the issue with what we're dealing with now is that no one's focusing on the fact that he would have gone and gotten time or gotten punished for the shooting the gun and having the gun illegally. No one's focusing on that. The only thing people are focusing on is, did he shoot Megan? And that's where the tension is coming from, is that people want to say, absolutely he did it, which they can't prove. And people who said he can't do it, which he absolutely can't prove. So at the end of the day, I think that we're never going to get any kind of decision. I mean, any kind of clarity. There will be no understanding. I think Tory's greatest mistake, and I had to listen to Glass's point. He made a great point. If you cut it off before it even gets to this point, you may have to take a little bit of an L, and you'll have to try to rebound from it. But he didn't. He chose to play it all the way out, and he got everything that came with it. But I think at the end of the day, social media has riled up both sides to a point where you'll never get any kind of Megan was 100% correct, Tory was 100% correct, because we'll never know. And the fact that no one is actually willing to say it's okay that we won't know. That's just life, and we won't be able to truly know. I do think that, again, do I think they presented enough doubt that it wasn't him? I agree. But do I think he still was going to go down for the 2 charges before? Sure. I just think once you put yourselves into the deep end of the pool, you risk drowning. And he put himself in that position and he drowned. Simple as that.
Thanks. We got your man D. Your D got your hands up real fast, bro. We get some closing comments. D, you want to chime in real fast, bro?
No. Is I don't think my thought process works in this conversation right now. Like just what I'm thinking about, as far as like I kind of just want to talk about like with led up to it, but I don't think that mattered because at the end of the day, like Glasses said, he got three witnesses said that he shot the gun and he got the gunshot residue on his hand. I got some questions about it, but I just don't think it matters. So I say never mind to my hand raise.
Thanks, bro. BTSN exclusive. Tory Lanez ain't the hill to die on. Justin Hunt, you got some final words before we close out?
Yo, lively discussion. I think I echo a lot of the sentiments that I heard from all parties that were a part of this. BTSN, Behind the Scenes Network, we do this all the time. And for me personally, from where I'm coming from, for Meg's family, for Megan Thee Stallion, I'm glad and I hope that she's having a happy holiday. For Tory Lane's side of it, he'd been way reckless before this trial even happened. And so hopefully he doesn't get the maximum amount of time, because I don't think this is a 23-year thing. Accountability is something that no person can avoid. And I hope he comes out better than this. Rock with us.
Lil Nico, you got something to say real quick, bro, before we close out?
Nah, not really. I was just processing some stuff before. I kind of answered my own question in my head. I'm good, bro.
Well, thank you all for coming out. This was a very dope conversation. Justin, thank you, bro. Everyone, thank you. BTSN.watch is the website. Check us out. If you are creative, you're looking for a space to create, BTSN just may be that space. Follow us on Twitter, drop us a message, and we'll get back at you. Tory Lanez ain't the hill to die on. BTSN exclusive. Follow us on Twitter. BTSN.watch is the website. Check us out. God bless you guys. Good night.
Happy holidays.